Hello everyone. In today's challenge, we will be creating a responsive input field component using auto layout. First of all, what is text field? The text field is one of many input fields. We have checkbox inputs, we have radio inputs, and we have then a text input field. Uh, Text input field serves as a primary mean to gather information, commands, and preferences from the user. We can gather username, age, debit card info, address, or even have him write long text if needed using text fields. Here I have gathered some inspirations for you guys using Movin. And this is two row. This screenshot is from two row. And you can see how credit card number input field and the name on card field, they both are visually different enough for user to know what kind of information they have to add in it. And here in Klarna we have this star. They are using this star to show that these fields are required. And then here we can find a drop down combined with the or text field to show that they can select from the given list of items. This card is using a fill to show the area where user can type instead of using borders like Klarna and Turo. Here we have ChatGPT using a very different style of input field. Here we have Babel which is using their own colors to customize some details. They even have added leading icon here. And this is Monarch. They are using a very different version of input field. It is very non-traditional, but I absolutely like that. So that's why I've added this as inspiration. Let's break down anatomy. So here we have the vocabulary for the components of the text field. As a UX designer, we want to create interface that are easier to navigate. So we can make input fields, that they are using clear labels, hints that provide immediate feedback, and guiding placeholder text that contributes to the ease of use of a digital platform. So we will dig deep into these as we create our component and learn best practices for each of them. Here I have brought some base components that I will be using to create our form fields. I have these icons. For now, all of them are 24 by 24. And then there is a flag. Of course, the height is 24, width is a little wider. And then I have text in three sizes: 16, 14, and 12. Right now, it is in only regular size, regular weight. We will see what we need to do as we create the component. So let's start by placing our label here. So here I am going to type, I'm going to click T, or you can click here and start typing text here, label. So on the top, we will need label. From here, you can apply the property. Right now, I'm just applying one size, and then we'll create the hierarchy after we know how it looks like. So right now, regular 16, and I'm adding a color, which is the darkest gray I have, and then label. So this is label. Labels are there to provide the content and to describe what the expected information. We are supposed to keep them concise. Uh, Traditionally, like this is the component, so I will be only using, what do you say? I will only use the wording, like I'm just calling it a label. uh, Even later we need to make sure that we just keep it concise. We will use, for example, we'll call it email address, or maybe just email, instead of saying that enter your email. Let's talk about these details a bit later. Let's create the component first. So I'm adding this label here. Then I am gonna copy this. So for typography, I always suggest that you are supposed to just prepare one layer. So like I applied the typography and the fill on it, and then I'm just gonna, in future, I'm just gonna copy this layer and apply other properties and change as per need. So there is not much to change. So either I have to change the color or either I have to change the size. So copying this layer instead of writing each time from scratch helps a lot with consistency. So I am going to apply auto layout. I just pressed shift A on this layer and I'm going to place it here, 8 point from my label, and I am going to call it container. Or then I am going to copy another time and I'm going to place it again by 8 point away from this container and I'm going to call it hint text or maybe help text actually. So now we have three items. Let's change the color, background color a little so we can see what's happening. So this container will need a fill of white for now, like with the simplest design we have in mind. And now I am going to just simply see what else we need. So I have listed down all the items that we need here in the component that we will create. So this should be called placeholder text. Yeah, placeholder text. So I have added three main components that we must use in the component. And now I want to bring an icon here. I just copied it. Just make sure that you are using a component. So I have placed some variants, like creating a component of all these icons, and then I'm just simply placing a variant within this. So it just becomes easier to use change them and apply properties in them. I'm going to use my arrow to place them in the start. This is a little too big, but I'm not touching the sizes for now. Let's talk about them in detail. Here I want the drop down one as a trailing icon, and yeah, we have label, placeholder, leading, trailing, help one. Now we need a border. So border, and then we'll talk about padding. uh, I am skipping the hierarchy for now, like which item need to be bolds and color stuff. We are just making sure that we have a base ready. So I am just, you can just keep it square, which I won't suggest. Like zero radius. We need to soften the corners in 2025 design rules and regulations. So you will see the roundness of the design everywhere. So let's try by 4 or maybe 8. Sweet. 8 is a little too much for me. I'll add 4. Now I am adding a stroke. By default, it adds this stroke. Now I'm going to select and from my saved colors. So here I have 4 colors, and I think this 300 will be good. Hmm. So if I intend to use it on a white background, you will see that how now the fill is there and the border is visible enough. Now I'm gonna grab all three layers, make sure the spacing between them is 8, and apply another auto layout in them. And I'm gonna call it input field or text field actually. Text field and slash, I am going to call it default because we need to make 5 states here. So now Now we need to make sure that when I resize it, it adjusts accordingly. So right now it is using her content. This text you can see can be longer. So I have a screen in mind, which I will be designing for, which is 390 screen. And if I reduce if I th- remove 2424 by from this value to exclude the margins, I am left with 342 at least, meaning my field should at least be 342. Now you see when I resized it, something went horribly wrong. So we need to fix that. Now I'm gonna select my container layer and I'm going to align this to left. Now we need to worry about some padding and sizing and stuff. So this is the minimum content we need, and this is the minimum details. Like we need to control, we need to know how to control and stuff. Okay, that was a stupid sentence. Ignore that. Anyways, now to make it responsive, there are some details that I add into my component, because in the long run, when I have to come back and reuse them again and again, it just helps. So that is that my label component is text only layer. I am going to apply Shift A on that layer. So simply, I am doing this after I have a whole layer applied, a whole auto layout applied everywhere. That's why it did not add padding. If you start from scratch and apply this property, it probably will add some padding on right and top. So just make sure you know that there should not be any padding applied to this layer. I am going to call it label. So you will see when why this is helpful by the end of this video. But right now I have just label, and the label text layer has auto layout applied to it. I'm going to go do same on the help text. So what I'm going to do is apply Shift A to my help text, rename this. Okay, sweet. And yep, here now here. So let's talk now we need to adjust the sizes and stuff. So sorry, let's first make it responsive. So when I want to resize it, I want this to stick on very left and this to stick here to very right. So rest of the space should be taken by this element. What I can do is to apply a text layer and auto layout on this too, but honestly for this particular part of the field it is not necessary, but for the sake of consistency I am wrapping this into auto layout and then applying the fill container property. So and then I'm going to align that this to left. So all the auto layout that I needed was applied. Now let's break down like some best practices. Labels, as I mentioned, labels are there to provide context and to describe the expected information that a user will read this and will know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to provide. And in the long run we are supposed to keep them concise. So they shouldn't be longer or maybe full sentence or nothing. They need to be one or two words, combination of word like email or email address, full name or first name. So these kind of words we will be using to have them. Okay, the next thing here we have is next thing we need to know about this is that form fields without labels are considered poor UX. So you will see some form fields in this condition or maybe without them, because this is something that comes on situational basis. So only this part you will see, that is not a good UX. It is sometimes clear whether like they are button. If you see only these two, this element placed and this icon is missing, uh, it is usually not clear whether they are buttons or even if they are clickable. So even if user figures out that okay they are supposed to click on them, the label disappears. So if usually what people do is to just, if they're missing these two elements, they will simply write email here. So as user starts typing, that email word just disappears, leaving the user confused about what exactly they need to type. This brings us to the point that what font size we should use. So I am going to zoom to 100% to see how much what is the readability to for all these texts. So by default, as I applied here are 16 size text. So for the label, we should honestly, in one word, if I was to describe what we need to do is just to keep it legible. It should be readable from this view that user has to look at this. So the other thing is that we need to choose from the ranges of the body. So in the typography scale, we have three or two sizes of body or paragraphs text. So we need to apply something from those. So usually we have 16, 14, and 12, three sizes of body or paragraph text. So you can choose from there. So I right now I have applied 16. What I'm going to do is apply 14 and see if it is readable. If you will be looking at it from recorded screen, so you probably want to zoom in to see. But yeah, it is pretty readable. So now we can apply some styling. So this probably should be more prominent if we are making it a little small. So we can make it bold, or we can even make it in, all caps. So I think caps is looking good. Our caps design probably needs a little more letter spacing, so we will add that. Sweet. Now it is more readable. So we have label in 14 size. Now the text. So they should have enough contrast. So if I make it lighter or even this lighter, they just lose the attention they are supposed to get. So let's make them the darkest gray color we have here. Now moving towards the container area. Container area will have like the container is the part of the text input field that user will actually interact with. They won't click on label, they won't click on the help text. So this is the area they will click and interact with. So it must have a text area. This is the text area, and it will have some padding here, top, bottom, right, left, four sides of padding. And it can optionally have these two icons. Like these are not compulsory to have, but they this is a design choice, and this is a situational based. We'll talk a little more about this in a few minutes. Now, let's talk particularly about this placeholder text. Placeholder text is a temporary copy that disappears when the user starts typing there. So it will guide user something like enter your email address here, create your new password, enter your company email here. So it will be a temporary text first. Then the state will change. When user is typing, it will show the result of whatever user types using the keyboard. And then when he is done typing, clicks outside, we will show them that okay, this is your like filled state, and all of those situation needs to look different. So there should be uh, clear distinction that this field is filled, this is empty, or maybe just using a default state with the class with the standard placeholder, or this maybe has some error. So all of them needs to be visually very very clear. Okay, so why this is added? So basically it is added to guide user on what kind of data can go into the field. Like in a password field, the placeholder can say that create a new password, to guide user that they are supposed to create a new one, not add an old one. On some occasions we can use it to hide information. um, Sorry, not hide, show information about the format that we need this particular info in. So for example, here if I want to ask user for age, we will show them particular format like dd yy no 4y. So we will show them that. And even in the username cases, if our usernames must have an underscore, we will show an example of that. So placeholder text can be really helpful to guide user. One more thing is that the text in all of these three places, it needs to be like clear and straightforward. So here if you we are asking user to select a country from this drop down, we will just directly say by starting from the action like select a city, select a country, select your favorite food, instead of making a whole sentence. So these two particular places will not have any sentences here. This is a different case. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So yeah, we are done with the this word. Now we have the leading icon. Leading icon is placed in the start, meaning in English design it will always be on the left. It is just there to help users quickly understand the purpose of the field in this case. So if there is an email icon, meaning we are guiding user that this is an email. If there is a password icon, actually, so user will know that this is supposed to be password. Now if an interesting thing to know about these icons is that you should only use them in the familiar cases. Like users are familiar with some standard icons like home, on the top of my head, email, and card, like debit card icon. So if we use the those icons, it will be helpful. But if we use an icon which user is not familiar with, we will create a bad UX instead of making it any better. What about the size? So right now, like by default, I use 24 icon sized icons. So that's what I have placed here. Basically, for any interface icons which are paired with the area that is clickable, the size, the reasonable size, the acceptable size is 20 pixel to 28 pixel. And in a very rare situations, I have used uh, 32 sized. Okay. So making the 24 pixel a sweet spot. So that's why I always start with 24 and see if it works or not. Then we can fix this. Means it depends on the size of the field. So what is the size of the field? This is the container, and by default, by all the elements that I have placed within it, it is giving me 48 size, which is not right, because what I'm supposed to have is a at least, keeping that I will be working with the mobile design here, so it should be at least 48 pixel. So I'm not going to touch that, but yeah, 48 pixel. You know what, let's do that. 48 pixel, and I'm going to remove this padding. I try to avoid the vertical padding. So because you most of the elements that for not most of the, like all the elements that have fixed height, like this one has 48, buttons also had 48, we don't need the vertical height. So I have that, I did added that. Now I'm going to select this layer and see what is the vertical padding I'm getting, which is 12. So this will help me with the right padding. So now, right now, what I'm going to do is select both of these icons and see if they look like right. Visually, they look a little bigger. The reason is that we are using regular sized font here, regular weighted font here, and this looks a little too thick. Even though the size, the line height, here is 24, and this is 24, and this is 24, so we might want to reduce the size to balance this. So first I have to lock this aspect ratio, and then I'm going to update the size to 20. You see, just reducing the size just made it like proportional. So you can also honestly try to have 22. No, 22 is bad. Anyways, uh, here we have the sizes of the icon applied. So 24 mostly works like magic, but with when within these elements, and especially with working with material icons, I have found 20 to be also a very trusted spot. So try between 20 to 24. Usually 24, 22, or 20, they work fine. Anyways, any type of icon, any type of icon is never a replacement for something that is written like text in UX. It means it should always be, the icons should always be an addition, not a replacement. Meaning, I see this can be home. So if I add home icon here, I should never assume, okay, we can get rid of the labels. Never. Means you cannot assume that all users will understand all the icons, or in fact any icon. Additionally, labels are important for accessibility. So you can't have just an icon and assume that all the accessibility systems will work without the copy. So we are not using it as a replacement. Now let's go back to container. By default, Figma applies 8 and 8 pixel padding. So we remove the top and the bottom one. Now let's talk about the right and the left one. So in these kind of components, where things are like right or left aligned, not center aligned, okay, not center aligned, we can try to keep the same padding that is top and bottom, places are having. So 12, I'm seeing that this layer, the biggest layer here, this is 20 and this is the biggest layer which is 24. So 24 layer size layer is having 12 point pixel, padding. So here I am going to add 12 and see what happens. You know what? There is one more element, thing we need to talk about. I'm going to reduce, like remove the padding. Let's go to this. Let's first talk about the trailing element and you will see why I removed the padding. So the trailing icon is placed after something. In this case, it will be placed after the placeholder text. In addition to guiding the user about the field, like this does, it can also be used to give feedback to the user. For example, if something goes wrong, we can use error icon in, in addition to making it red here to show them that okay, they made a mistake. Unlike leading icons, so leading icons are optional, means it's your design choice if you want to have them. These are situational, means they should be used sparingly and very, well thought out intent, with well thought out intent, because they don't always need to be static. Sometimes we need them to be clickable. So for example, this particular arrow situation, uh, this is a drop down, user will click on it. So it, if we start adding, like we stack 10 items and all of them have different type of icons and some of them are static not clickable and some of them are clickable, it will be confusing. So we want them to use with intention. So if this is clickable, meaning 20 size is not enough, now I'm going to apply shift A on this. Since this is already in the auto layout, it won't have extra padding applied by Figma, which is awesome. What I will do is just center align it and resize it to make 48 by 48, because that's the size what of, that we want. So we made it now I'm going to call it trailing icon. For consistency, I'm going to apply the same properties, like the same layout here, and I'm going to call it leading icon. Okay, this did not apply the properties. I want the size to be 48, 48. Sweet. Now I'm gonna select this container layer and remove the gap now, because now this padding, like this pad, these elements have sufficient padding around them, so they are giving it enough space between elements. So sweet, we are good. Now when I have to make it interactive, right now we won't, in this video we won't be going in these details, but in future we can try to make this as a separate base component with, its own default state and press state and everything. So if we do that, then we will add it here so user can simply go and click on it and we can show different state. But honestly, as a beginner designer, or even as an intermediate level, you don't need to go in those details, as yeah, it won't be any helpful for now. So now we have talked about these two, these a lot of things actually, 1 2 3 4, and we also talked about padding, in like how much padding we need. So we need to just know what size we want, and the padding will be adjusted accordingly, because we here we wanted fixed sizes, so we didn't worry about the paddings. Now let's talk about this. So you see, we made this one smaller, meaning this is 14 size text, but we didn't touch the size of this. This is 16 sized text. There is one more thing we need to figure out. So what do we want to do if the text becomes longer than this? So we should fill it, like it should take all the space here. But after, let's try to create a longer text. What's up? This is bad. This is bad because this cannot change size. Now let's try one more property. So I'm gonna select this layer, actually paste it back to show you. I'm gonna go in this, this area. Here we have an option to truncate text. When I click here, it asks me how many lines do I want. So I want only one line. So whenever in the component I will have any text that goes beyond this one line, it will just automatically truncate it, which is awesome. Now let's talk about the help text. This is also called helper text and error text. It is situational, means when we need it, we will only use it then. We need hints to communicate with users, and we need error text to help us communicate validation errors and quick feedback on the user's action within the input field. So if they enter a wrong email, we will tell them that they need to fix that. Both helper and error text can convey instructions too. So like for the case of password, they will say like you need to enter at least 8 characters, you need to have a special character in it, so they contain instructions. um so this whole communication in error and help text, this is important for positive UX experience and reduced friction in interface in between user and the interface interaction. For example, if there is a birthday field, so there are two different things you can do. So you can write, like previously I said, you can write here DDMMYY as a like placeholder text. If you read a little more about the placeholder text, you will find out there are quite a few problems with how we deal with the placeholder text and stuff. So yeah, mostly it is very good practice. Like it is better to add the required or desired format here in the help text. But honestly, you should read more about it before actually applying these details. I won't go into like very advanced rules and very accessibility related issues, but do give it a read. Like search for input fields on NN group, and you will find a lot of details there. Anyways, back to here. So if we want to inform user that they need the date in this format, so we'll tell them like this. So this will help us minimize the errors that user can make. And similarly, if we have to show character limits, we can align it here and show this, that yeah, this requires, like you have written down 11 characters out of 26. Okay, the yep, we can use colors to visually distinguish them. So this, if this is gray, it means it is just informing user, helping user, guiding the user. But if this is red, user will know that this is a error. So because they are both placed at the same place, so we need the colors to distinguish that. Hmm. Now we have talked about every element for now. Let's talk about the size actually. So this is I started using 16 size text initially. Uh, so basically, if I were to talk about hierarchy, this and this needs to be smaller than this text. So I'm using 16 here. So this automatically becomes equal in size with this one. So I am using 14 size regular text here. There is yeah, it is bold, it is regular, and this one is also regular. The color coding, detailed color coding we will do later, but right now we are good spot by having all the elements there. Let's create 5 copies and rename them accordingly. So text field slash active. Active is the state when user is typing within it. Then we have filled state, means user is done typing and has moved to another one. And here we have the error state, user has made a mistake. And then we have disabled state, means it cannot be changed. Any input that we have within it can't be changed. So abled. Yep, sweet. I'm gonna select all 5 of these layers, just testing it finally to see that it is fully responsive. Yes, it is. Yay. So I'm going to select all 5 of them. And I'm going to go and create a component set. Awesome. Property will be state. Awesome. Now let's try applying some properties. Any item that needs editing, like we should give the user control to edit it from here. So I'm going to select my label layer, select all of them using this maybe control alt A, or maybe clicking on this icon, which is so four boxes stacked on each other. Then I'm going to apply the property label property. I'm just going to call it label property. Then I'm going to add placeholder property, again selecting all the layers, applying placeholder property. One thing to know is that I am applying a property, not a variable. So if by default you come up with variable, you need to make sure that you switch to property here. So placeholder text. Then we have hint or help copy. So I'm going to another thing is that we added these layers in another frame by pressing shift A. So do not select the frame, because frame will not allow you to add a text property. You need to select a text layer, then select all, then help text. Awesome. And now this icon, because this will be different based on uh, situation. If this is an email, we won't need it, or if there is a warning, we will be probably showing a warning. So let's apply a property here, select all of them, and I want to apply instance property, which is trailing instance property. Trailing instance, you can apply the preferred values from here. Right now I'm not going in that detail. You know what, let's go. Let me see what I have planned. I want to add, let me see, I here. So I'm sorry. I pressed here on plus and apply I property. And here I selected that because that's what we will be needing. And for now, that's it. You can add like this and create the property. Now I'm going to apply trailing property the same way. Trailing instance. Trailing instance. Okay, let's test it. Now we have label here, placeholder, help copy. Now another thing we need is that to get rid of this, what do you call it? Yeah, this icon when need. So I'm gonna select the frame layer, which is the trailing icon. And now I am going to select all of them to apply our appearance or disappearing property. So I'll say show trailing icon, sorry, leading icon. No, sorry, this is the trailing icon. By default, I'm just keeping in all of them on, so you can see that they are still there. Then I am going to do the same. Select all and apply. By the way, there is another way. You can select just one layer, apply this property, show leading icon, apply the property, and later realize, okay, I wanted the same property here too. So select any layer that you want to, and then find the property and just apply that to it. So same will be applied. Now I am seeing that if I turn this off, this works fine. We do have a situation that we need our trailing instance to be here, leading to be here. Just reorganizing them for my ease. Oh, I forgot to rename this. Trailing instance. Trailing instance. This was not trailing instance. This was leading instance. This situation is fixed. Leading instance. Okay. Okay. Let's test things. I can type everything here. Perfect. Let's remove this. component. Now let's create like a visual distinction between these elements. So I here chose an outline for this container which was pretty light. Let's select it, and it was like 300. But when it is active, we want user to know that this is, you know, that they are typing. So meaning they will be typing, and there will be a line that will be blinking like this. So they need a visual indicator that this field is selected. So I'm going to go select this container, and one we can try to create this in a color that is our primary color. So for this particular project, like this challenge, I want to use the sky blue palette of mine. So I think this outline is good. I might want to make it a little, okay, 2 is a little too fat, so I want it 1.5. Hmm, okay. And the other thing we can do is to try to add a little bit of tint. So when they are typing, they will see this is, this container being filled with something. Okay, now I can. So here user was in the default state. Here they are in active state. Here when they click outside and the previous field is filled, or maybe it came pre-filled, so it definitely won't have an active border. Probably just a darker border. No, that will be ugly, means we are missing something, because right now filled and default look same. So what else are we missing? If we can't touch the border, it is definitely this detail. So this is like, this looks very active, this placeholder text in the default setup, where we are only showing user something like enter your password, enter your email, meaning it needs to be, it shouldn't look that it is filled. So I am going to go and make it. So this is for my secondary text, this is for my tertiary level text, and this is for the fourth number color in my palette is for inactive text, means the one that is not written by the user. So here I have done this. Now you can see that these filled and default states look different because the colors are different. We don't need to touch these icons because they need to be visible, and they are not, this is not something user is interacting with um, for leading one, and this for trailing one user has to click on it. So if this is any lighter, it will not look clickable. Sweet. Now we have error state. Again, you see, I'm not touching my label and helping text so far in the above fields. So here I want to, first of all, like, honestly, this should be pretty clear after so many challenges, that we need to have red colored stuff. So maybe we want to fill it red. No, no. Here, this is the fill. So I want to fill it in, with light red. Then we want to change the border, of course. Maybe second color. It looks good actually. Let's try the darkest one. It is a little too dangerous actually. Here, I want another field actually to inform user. So I will definitely remove the property by, I duplicated this by doing Control D, and this I want to say error, and I don't want enough padding because it won't be clickable. So let's make it hug content. With sorry, height doesn't need to change actually. Here what I want to do is, here I have gathered this icon, the error icon. So I'm gonna replace this and make it again 20, of course, and I want this to be 60. Sorry, red color, dark red color. Hmm. So like, we are giving user the feedback that okay, you made this mistake. You know what, I want this text to be red too. Wow, this looks nice. How about this one also becoming red? Drop down actually doesn't make sense to have a red. Drop down actually, the situation is that in ideal case, drop down values are the one that you can select, meaning most of the cases will not have a wrong value. Sorry, how do I describe this? So if system is suggesting you three values to select from and you selected one of them, that can't be the problem. The problem is mostly when user has to add something from their side. Okay, so I don't want to change this color because this will not be there in case of problems. Okay, this looks good. Also, this helper text, this also needs to be red. Now, because here in all cases this is gray because it's a normal situation, but here the situation is no longer normal, and we need to highlight that. Now we are in the disabled state. Um, Disabled state mean that all the dark colored things, the user just can't click here. We need to guide that. So let's make it a little lighter, more lighter actually, 3 points. And if this doesn't serve a purpose, maybe we can create the darker background. Let's make it to 300. Hmm. Yeah, it has enough contrast and it shows that it is not clickable. Also, maybe we don't need the outline. And if we do need the outline, then we will need to change it and make it a little dark. Okay, you know what? A stroke makes it look clickable. So this is actually better. Hmm. I think we are in good spot. If we do run into a situation that if we need something else, we will come back. So let's copy this component, Control C, and this is the screen that I have prepared for myself, where I want to do the designing and stuff. I am just adding it here. So yesterday we learned about the means in the previous lecture, the day 5 challenge, we learned about the constraints. So I have added this here, and from the constraints, where are the constraints? Here are the constraints. So I want to apply this left to right constraint. So in future, as soon as I do this, it just simply resizes accordingly. So that's the responsiveness part that we did while making the component. So now, right now, I want to, create like I want to show the stacking part of these fields and how you can activate and deactivate all the properties that you have applied. So right now on the top of what I want, this is a random sign up screen. Let's add some more spacing here. So here I want email. So label is sorry, not label. This is legal name. I added that, and then I want to add enter your legal name as a placeholder. Enter your legal name and AME. After writing here, you just click enter and it will be fixed. Now, we don't need help text as a default with this particular case. So I am going to, I am seeing the situation where I did not apply the property there. So I am going to turn back, select the layer, help text layer. I'm going to select all of them and apply the disappearance property there. It is definitely not called disappearance property. Like, I don't know why I'm calling it this. So show help layer, show help text. Sweet. Now I can go back. You see, if you have made the component, using the right properties and organized without and using auto layout, you will be able to apply properties at any time. Like if you couldn't plan it in the beginning, no problem. Right now I saw the problem, I just now have applied property. Now I'm going to turn this help text off. Sweet. I should move the help text too actually. So show help text should be next to help text. This is something I'm doing for myself. If you are convenient feeling okay, you should do it. Right now I am going to do something really weird to just place 8 points spacing here. So you see, when I was creating the component between this label layer and between this container, even the third layer, I just added the padding of gap of 8 pixels. So maybe let's try 8 points here too and see what happens. The second field I want is email address. No, actually company email. And here I will guide user that they should add enter your email. Sweet. We have it. Now we see we don't need this to on trailing icon. We don't need this trailing icon too. And we need to change this. So this is a name. We'll probably use person. This is actually not the good icon. So I'm just gonna keep it for this particular video, but don't use it for the pair with name. I just checked, and legal name or even name, they don't have the icons. So, but right now the purpose is to show you how to use this field. So I'm gonna keep this for now. Now I am gonna place another field, and the third one I want is country or maybe region. And here we want a drop down and select your country. For the icon, I want a flag, this one. Sweet. Now I'm going to, since I have more than two layers ready here, I want to try that what's the spacing here. I'm going to press Control O to zoom out to 100% and see what's the problem here. I'm going to apply Shift A, and this is my, form. Now, you see the problem that if you look at this 100% distance, again, to repeat what 100% distance is, this is the size user will see your design in. So by zooming it, it gives you more control in Figma, but that's definitely like this is not how user is going to see it. So I'm gonna go Control 0 or zoom to 100% and see what's the problem. So here you see legal name is 8 point pixel away from this container. So is company email. Now it is not clear on this crowded screen that if this label is associated with the top container or the bottom one. And we can make it worse actually. Let's turn on the help text. So if this help text is here, some designs you will find are like allow you to have some help text on the top. So it does confuse the user if he is going giving it a read. Then which exactly, which field is this help text associated with. You see, when you are creating the component, you will see, oh, this is pretty clear by the copy that this is, and let's say this says that enter your legal name, let's say, for the sake of example. So so it looks like when you're designing, you're like, okay, this is pretty explicit that, yeah, we are like this is associated with the name field, but in actual user is not reading everything. He's scanning detail. So in the scanning, we are forcing user to read actually, each of these details, and people absolutely hate it. So think about it like as user. So I'm going to turn this off for help user, and we need to increase the gap. So when we increase the gap, we just jump in between eight multiples of eight, and you can try multiples of four too. So basically, multiple of fours is something you will use up till 20. 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20 and 24. Then after that you will need bigger jumps which are multiples of 8. So here you can, like, right now we have 8. If we make it 12, it is not clear, like it doesn't show much of a difference. Let's make it a little bigger, 16. It is good. So a good rule of thumb with the spacing is that one, you should try which what is the worst place. So 8 is definitely was the worst place, we cannot go there. Then you need to find the bad place. So let's try to keep increase and make it 32. It is making the design feel disconnected, means we definitely can't do 34. So let's find something between it. So here I was at 16, I'm gonna go 24. So between each field, there is 24 point difference. So Another rule you can remember is that whatever looks good, 16 looked good. Yeah, this can work. Add a little more spacing to that, whatever looks good. So 16 looked good. I'm gonna add 8 more and make it 24. Now this is the good amount of spacing. So let's try if the design is still responsive. It is not. What happened? I applied another auto layout and forgot to apply the constraint on it. So now this is good. If it doesn't work like that, if go to each detail and see that it has fill container applied to it, because now it has auto applied next to it. Now let's move to the next one. Our next field is phone number. Now for phone number, we want a format. Let me draw you something. We want a format where there is a flag, there is a code, then there is a drop down. So this is a whole section that is controlled by drop down. And then I want this to have where you manually enter your number. We did not create this field. What do we do? You can pause the video here and think about it. What should we do? There, then come back. I'll tell you the answer, of course. So basically, what happens is that one, you can have another version of this form field created. So this is the most basic component that I have created for you. It can have a separate version where we can have a custom mobile field input, and all of that in 5 variations like this. Then we can have a debit card input that looks distinctly different from this. Then we can have actually, I forgot what other types of field we have, but yeah, you can have as many as you want here. Okay. And even I'll tell you, like, we will create few variations of this later, but for now, like, we need to figure out a way. Uh, Go create a new one. No worries in that. For this video, I want to show you how can we modify the existing component. So what we want, as I sketched below, we want a like here I want my flag, country flag, and see what possibly goes wrong. Sorry, flag. So I have Pakistani flag. Sweet. I have added this here. If your flag doesn't come here, you need to go back to your component and see that here it, you know what, it shouldn't be a problem because we have applied a whole fixed layer here, and we have placed it, align it in the center. If, like, make sure your setting is this, and now here by default, so the good part, no, sorry, more important detail is, let's assume that this comes pre-filled. So here we are just gonna select a filled one. This has, no, not the active one, sorry, filled one. The order is messed up, so let's fix that. I want the default to be my first one, then I want active, then I want my filled one, and the disabled one should be at the bottom. So I just dragged it. Now here it probably came it like it picked, the system picked from my mobile that this is Pakistan, and so here it also picked this. It wrote down the code 92, which is Pakistan phone number code, and again this is also filled. Now I am going to go and apply an auto layout on this particular phone number one field. Shift A. I'm going to call it, again, just gonna give it same name. Now, by default, it has applied this auto layout. I want to switch it to the horizontal one, and I'm gonna duplicate this layer, this text field, duplicate it. So now I want this to, like, I'm gonna give this a fixed width. And I am in, you know what? Let's go one by one. So I'm gonna make it like this. What is the width I had here? 342, and 342 by 3, 114. Hmm, maybe 120. I'm just gonna see where I get rid of this truncation. 130. Yeah, this is good. It's taking a little too much space, but for now, with the current design adjustment, it is fine. Here, now we are in the lead where we need to get rid of this label. Honestly, you can just simply go align this section where we have these two at the bottom and select the second one, go to the label, and here control, close this eye. This should work if you want to do this. If not, then we should be in sweet spot. I want to show that if you are in a situation where you are testing and quickly making things, and you don't have to change the whole component, you can just simply hide this. Another thing that happens is that I'm just gonna reset this, and you see I need to hide this label, help text. I turned off the label. Now I also need to get rid of this icon here. So I have to select the layer, not the icon, because we have a whole container around it. So I'm gonna go hide it. And you see what happened here? Let's hide the next one too. So I just turned off both leading and trailing icons. You see, because I did not have any spacing or padding in the container, this happened. Again, I wanted to tell you how to fix this on the spot instead of going back to change the whole component. We will do that after we are done with this screen. So here I still see the padding control, so I'm gonna go and add some padding here. If I check what's the padding around this icon, this is 14. I can try to give it the same padding. No, not here, not the text field actually. Within text field, the container field will require this padding. So here, like this. And now you can switch this, to default and tell user how they need to enter the number. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 as a placeholder text. So this is how you can on the spot override the component. No problem in that if you are doing it occasionally. But if you are doing it again and again, it means your component, like this same thing, this overriding the component, if you run into this again and again, it means that you need to go fix your component. Let's make another copy, another type of field, which is password. Now we need to ask user a password. This design and this stacking of random fields, this is not good UX. I'm just showing you difference in situations. Don't use it as an inspiration for a sign up screen. It's just to show you what we need to do when we are stacking the form fields. Okay, so here we are, this is password, and here do we have a password icon? I hope so. Password, please let me go bring the password icon. Hey, I am back. So I created the password icon. I can select it from here, and from now in this um trailing instance, I need okay, I have rearranged it horribly. Leading needs to be paired with leading, and trailing needs to be paired with trailing. That's why I was confused. Back to this trailing icon needs to have this password one that I applied from the preferred, while applying the property, I chose the preferred one here. And of course, this needs to reset. And actually, this needs to be at default state. And say, enter your password. Your set a password. We are creating set a password, or maybe enter a password. Oh, now next. Now we ran into a situation where we want to add a bio field, meaning want user to write something, describe yourself. So let's see what we have. If we go reset these two sections. I just selected these, and I just how do I reset these two? You know what, let me reset the whole component and turn off the help, place this, and this is called bio. Now, if I get rid of these two icons, I am again in this situation, meaning there is something else that we need to fix now. Like, sorry, this the component itself needs to be updated. Another thing. So if I keep typing, it will truncate it. Can I overwrite this? Of course, I can within the component, but it doesn't solve the problem. We will have to override so many things because this is hug content. This cannot change the size. So let's figure out what we can do about this. So here, if we go back to our inspiration, we saw that there is another type of field, which is the description field. In this is a totally different looking field, meaning it will not require something in the start or in the end. Like it won't require a drop down. So we need a variation which is for input, and it should have all these states. That is one. And other thing is that we are in the situation where like for even a normal field, we if what if we don't need the first or end one, the icon. The What do we do about the padding? Let me show you again how padding is messed up. Because there is no spacing, this gets messed up. So let's fix this one first. So for this particular case, we cannot fix it by applying another property on this. Okay. So what we need to do is, let's make this a little wide and give it all the space. So here I want another state. This is normal, like with icon state, like all these. Now here I want without icons, and then I want long fields, long text. Okay, so let's see what we can do. I'm gonna go select all three of them and just press Alt and make a copy of them. Oh, it is a disaster. You know what? Before I have to create another variant. So I will say icons. No, what do we call it? Type. Let's call it type. This one is default, or maybe let's call it with icons. Then I'm gonna go again, select these, and pressing Alt, I'm just gonna go drag and make another copy. And with icons, I will say without icons. Here in the type, like another type I'm creating is without icons. And now I just want to get rid of these icons. I'm gonna select all 10 of them, and I'm gonna press backspace and it will remove it. Uh, this was left. This we will need. Let's keep it. Now I need to select the container layer. What I'm doing, I selected one, then I press shift. When I click on each of them, the same layer will be selected because that's the one that gets highlighted. You can go select from this section too. Now in the padding section, I want to add that 14 padding that automatically gets, like I want to keep the padding consistent, so I can keep that. Or honestly, if I want to visually balance this, I would want to go with 16, because you see, if I select this icon, padding is 14, but if I select this layer, it is almost 19, and the icons will always have 2 points padding within this frame. So if I keep 16, the contain, like without icon situation, it will be more visually balanced. So this is your decision, 14 or 16. So let's do that. Now this problem will be solved. So if I select this, I'm going to copy this, can do this reset instance, hide the help text label. Can hide manually, and then from here I can select without icon, and you see this is automatically fixed. That's the one thing we fixed. Now what about this? I'm gonna create the copy of this one now, because it already doesn't have the icons, because that I already need to remove. Mm, just creating this copy. Mm, and naming it long text. L is bigger. Sweet. Now I need to get rid of that truncate that I applied here. So no truncation. That's the first thing. It should still fill the container that we are, in good spot with. The other thing is I'm going to select this container layer and I am going to make it hug content. Before that, I should figure out what's the spacing. What's the padding from top to bottom so I can keep it consistent so that you can see top to bottom. The layer, text layer is 12 point away. So I'm going to select my container layer and I am going to make it hug content. You see, since I did not have any padding applied, now I have to apply it manually by 12 points. Now what happens? Here I am going to go and make it, sorry, not this one, make it long text. Now if I write something, it automatically will hug content as long as I keep writing. Okay. So we have started creating from one component and you can see how the long journey we have done to achieve to reach this at this point. I am not going to stop there actually. Okay, sorry, I accidentally added. Oh, this is messed up. So here, this icon has some padding applied to its okay, sorry, the height applied to it. So I'm gonna make it hug content. So it is also fixed. See, as long as you know how to fix a problem or where or to actually first where to, actually how to locate a problem, then you will figure out how to fix a problem. And if you can do that, you can update your components at any point. Now let's do what we are doing here. I'm gonna go resize it. This is awesome actually. Perfect. Now, uh, this is the standard basic design. Initially I told you guys, like you can stop here, but there is some advanced stuff that we want to do here. So I told you guys that all of these things, it will be always convenient to have them in their own auto layout frame, because at any point if you want to make changes with these layers, you should be, in good spot. Now, if I see this screen, my client just simply asked me that I need a tooltip right next to the legal name. So, because usually people are asked with the first name and last name or even full name, uh, not the legal name. So, we want to tell them why we are asking them legal name in case they are curious. That is not something we want to, place it right here, but if they are interested they should know. So we want a tooltip here. So maybe that tooltip, he also told me to apply that to at like 5 other places. So I want to add a tooltip here within the component so I can turn it on and off anytime I want. So I'm gonna go bring my art, tooltip component, and I'm gonna make it 20 pixel. Sweet. Let's control X. Now I am going to just simply what I'm going to do. You see here, read the layer. This is the frame layer and this is the text. I selected the text and I'm control V pasting my icon here. So if we want the icon to be here, we can apply here. And if we want it to be here, we can simply make it hug content. And sorry, this all of these layers should be left aligned. This too. Help text also should be left aligned. Back to this. So we just simply added a tooltip here. Uh, does it solve the problem? Let's see. So here I am going to select all of my label layers and I'm going to paste the frames of, um, let me, do this thing. This is the text layer and this is the frame layer. So label layer for the frame, I am going to select that and I'm control V pasting that icon, and all of them all of them has them added it in within 50 or sorry 30 seconds. I'm going to remove the extra one from here. Now I am going to select this layer, select all of these layers, and now I am going to make them hug content. Awesome. So 30 seconds, I made an update that was applied to all of the components. Now what should I do? I have already made 30, 40 screens. All of them now have a tooltip applied to this. We don't want that. Let's go select this tooltip and apply a property and show tooltip. Tooltip, and I am going to turn it off. Now I just can go and turn this off where I need it only. So let's say we want to inform the user here and here with the region. So I turn that off on. That's the one way, like that's the one thing that we can like having those layers set up will help you add anything within any layer. So this is one important like fun thing we did. Another thing is that suddenly you want to change a design, you want to change the design a little bit. So help text, you got a request that we need sorry, we need this warning text with all of my red means error states. So I'm gonna go resize it. Maybe this time I want to make it 16 because this needs to be just there to show that this is warning, and make it red. Hmm. Control X to X cut it. Here I am going to paste it. Control V. Just in case if yours get pasted like this, you just need to update the auto layout to horizontal. So here you just do this. I am just using arrow to paste it. So I can't add it to all of these. So I'm gonna add them manually again, adding them to your what do you call it? Adding them to your component is easiest instead of adding them manually to everywhere or doing some, other kind of stuff to make it work. And awesome. We are done with everything we could do so far, actually. So here, let's see if we run into the situation where this is an error state. So we have to just make it error. Okay, this is working fine. Now, where do, all these things help us? What happens is that when we are prototyping, uh, sign up, let's call it sign up. Now, this is first screen, and this is how when user lands on it and he sees this, and this came empty, this came empty, but this was auto filled. This was auto filled by the system. Maybe user wants to update it, they can do it from the drop down, and this needs to be filled, this needs to be filled. Let's make a copy. So when we are prototyping, user will click on it, and I'm gonna click the container, not the whole field. You see, this is separately clickable, this is separately clickable, so I'm just gonna click the container and click here. On tab it goes to this one, maybe smart animate, and place it a little far away from it so we can see the interactions. So here when user clicks on it, this should become active. So let's play it and see it in action. Yep. So here when they click on it, it becomes active. And as it becomes active, user just starts typing. So let's say they start this indicator that they can type again. Sweet. Now what we have to do is make another copy. When user is done typing, it should be, let's do the whole typing actually. My name is Kiran here. So the next screen will be when they are done, like they click on this item that they are done typing with this one. So we show them this and the same auto layout setting. Then this should become the first one. It should no longer be active, it should become filled. Now this should become active. So when, and since we clicked here, we will be like seeing, like there will be whole, of course, keyboard open, but that's the story for another day. Let's not get distracted with that. So here I click here, then user keeps typing. I forgot to connect it. Damn. We can connect this screen by auto delay actually. Let's make it 2 seconds. So user took 2 seconds to type the name. 1, 2. And they type it. Now we click on this and this becomes like this. Now on the next screen, I am typing. I wrote my Kiran at the rate of maybe admin at the rate of company.com, whatever the email is. So I wrote down the email, and when I clicked on the next field, so I wrote this one. So I clicked here and I wanted to update this. Then this became error state because that's not what we wanted. So this became active. So user clicked on this one, but we need to guide user that, oh, you need to fix the top one. Maybe they can come back to later, but this needs to stay active as long as, user doesn't fix it. Now again, let's connect this one to auto layout 200 2000 millisecond, which is 2 seconds. Cool. Let's do this. So when I click this, this shows you have error. Now for good UX, we need to inform user that this has some problem. So we will show the error text, which is enter a valid email address. Let's start the flow now. Again, I clicked here, it became active. I typed something, then I click on the next one and it shows me like, yeah, we are good. Now, when I clicked on the next one and I made a mistake, it shows me that, okay, you made a mistake. I can fill the form or go back to, fix it, or maybe I can fix it first and go next, move, next and next and next. And we will definitely have a button on it. So there are different ways we can show the error. One is that instantly, like we can show them some of the mistakes. So if the format is not good, you can instantly show them, yeah, okay, this is not the email looks like. Maybe they are missing a at the rate of, or maybe a dot sign. But some kind of mistakes we can handle them after user clicks the button, like they are good, they are like, okay, I am good, move me to the next screen, and we tell them that, okay, you filled this, these 3 5 fields are not right. So yeah, that's how you inform users with different states. So amazing. We have like we learned all of these things. Sweet. I wanted to share one more thing, but I think this is good for today. And see you guys in another lecture, class, a video. Bye bye.